Hey everybody, this is another installment of Daily Words of Wisdom, or Words of Wisdom on Daily Walk and Talks with Barney Kunze. I forget what it actually all is now again. But I'm out here for a little walk. I was working like a madman from home, and today, because tomorrow at the time of this video, our Animal Wellness Summit, the third Animal Wellness Summit, is going live, and there's still a lot of work to do. So I had a call with a client and a friend by the name of Conrad, and I needed to get out for a walk, so we talked. And side note, if when you need to do phone calls of any kind, or you have phone calls that need to be made, then get out for a walk and do what I call a little walk and talk session. So what I'm here to talk to you about today, and I'm going to keep this relatively short because I am really looking forward to get back to my office to start finishing up some things. But I want to talk to you about today is stop chasing or running away from stress. It's something that I see time and time again, and in my own life and in my clients' lives, families' lives, friend lives, just observations that I make as a human being. So I want to share with you something. If you look back in your life, think about the times in your life when you've ever had the biggest phase of growth, or the biggest growth opportunity, or a phase of growth. And I'm willing to bet that it didn't come during a time of complacency. It didn't come during a time of comfort. It didn't come from a time when everything was just perfectly fine, at least based on the perception. When I say perfectly fine, everything's perfect. It is just based on our perception. But when everything's just all there and it's all support and everything's, bed of roses, it's when shit's hitting the fan. When stuff's flying to the wall, you're trying to hold things together. There's a big adversity, a big challenge. Somebody's stressing you out. You're pissed off at a friend or a client or a family member or a situation or something. You lost a bunch of money in a business deal. You're overweight, deconditioned, out of shape, feeling like crap. And that is stress. So we need to talk about this. Say we need to. I'm going to talk about this with you. So stress is nothing more than a physiological response based on the perception of the human being. So when you go through stress, like Stacy Court goes through when she comes to Barney's boot camps and training, that's a form of stress. So there's 6 main physiological stresses that the human body gets affected by, or that we experience. And if I can remember them off the top of my head, I have them in my book, my handy dandy little book, by Eat, Move, Be Healthy by Paul Chek. And they're physiological stress, emotional stress, mental stress, chemical stress, environmental stress, and then temperature stress, or a body getting stressed by the temperature, and all these different things. And so our body summates all of these stressors physiologically and psychologically within our body. And if you think of a sink for a second, and you think, okay, so there's all this stuff kind of piling in. If you're physically stressed, psychologically stressed, mentally stressed, financially stressed, stressed in your relationship, at least based on perception, then any little thing can really set you off, right? Have you ever had that happen? And then when you go back during, you're like, this is really not fun. This is not comfortable. I'm not enjoying this. And you want to try to run away from it, right? There's a belief, or this is common. I see this in social media. People like, run away from your haters. If your friends aren't supporting you, get rid of them in your life. And then you grow to the next level. You move to the next town. You get out of the relationship. You go to the next relationship, and the same shit shows up again. And you know why? Because those things that happen to you, that you think are happening to you, are actually happening for you, and they're actually happening so that you can learn lessons and grow. There's a study that had, many studies, but one of them specifically that was done, I remember reading a couple months ago, that it's not so much the amount of stress that people experience, it's based on the perception of that stress. So if we take something really extreme, like going to the gym, like Kathy and Stacy do at Barney's super cool and crazy, wicked, wild, and ridiculously awesome boot camps, that's a form of stress. Now, if they came here and they just fell down a hill that was covered with snow, and somebody just went in and stole the money or their bank account, and they hadn't eaten in 5 days, and they came to my boot camp and tried to work out, I probably would notice and say, you know what, maybe you should just sit there and chill. But if they tried to force themselves to go through it, that's a form of stress, right? But if you take somebody that hadn't been working out consistently for a couple months, or let's say a couple weeks or a couple months, they probably, if they weren't doing it at all, that would completely just probably obliterate them, like kill, not literally kill them, but like put them on the floor. Whereas somebody that's been conditioned, they might be able to do that. Now you take something like this guy, his name is Iron Cowboy. His name's James, oh my goodness, I'm drawing a blank. He's actually a documentary about him, the Iron Cowboy. You can find it on Netflix. And this guy thought he's an Ironman athlete, and he thought, well, you know, the record I think was 5 or 10 Ironmans in a year. So he thought, well, I don't know why, but there was something inspiring him, I would believe. So in order to do this, he goes and does not one Ironman a month, like I think the record was, I think 1 Ironman a month, or maybe I think it was 10 in a year. He thought, well, why don't I do 1 Ironman every day consecutively in 50 different states for 50 days straight. So he did 50 Ironmans in 50 days. That is not something that, from my experience, is overly conducive, because I can guarantee what's going to happen is you're going to go to the next job, the next relationship, the next house, the next town, the next friendship, and the same stuff's going to show up again. So I just want to leave you with an invitation, because I just have been getting indication that I should wrap this up because my signal's getting low, and I had 3 calls come in and I had to end them. So hopefully this is still coming through. My invitation for you to consider today is to stop running away from the stress. Write down all of the things that you are in your perception right now that you feel are stressing you out, physically, mentally, emotionally, spiritually, financially, relationship-wise, familially, or in your family. Write them all down. Acknowledge the ones that you're still willing to, you know, work on. Some of them are like, I can't, I need to get going. I need to get going. I have to get going. I really got to get out of here. Well, that's fine if you're going to choose that verbiage. But the point is, write them all down and write down what you can do about them, and consider that maybe you could change the way you look at things, because when you change the way, how's it, let me think about this for a second. When you change the way that you look at things, this is it. When you change the way you look at things, the things you look at change. So when your perception changes about something in regards to the stress, like the business deal, the financial loss, or the physical pain from the workout, or whatever, when you change your perspective on it, it changes how the body actually adapts and responds and deals with that and processes that stress. And it has a lot to do with our perception. So my invitation in closing, because I feel like I'm rambling on here, is to just look at where are you feeling the most stressed right now, and is it possible for you to consider looking at it from a different vantage point, from a different angle, and to say, what is this trying to show me? What is this trying to teach me? What lessons in it for me? I feel like I've already mentioned this in one of my previous videos, but I just felt like sharing this because nothing really is going to be accomplished that well from running away from stress. Doesn't mean that you want to go, I would encourage you to go if you're addicted to chaos and just being on an adrenaline high and just all this stuff and things, but you're addicted to being in a situation where you don't enjoy. Well, there's deeper things that we could get into later about that. But I think the simple story in essence for today is, don't run away from your stress, because at the end of the day, what you befriend will transcend, and what you resist will persist. And that's all I have to say for today. Have a great day. Stay blessed, stay grateful, stay humble, stay hungry. If you think there was some value in here, let me know. And if not, then keep your opinions to yourself. I'm Barney Kunze, Daily Walks and Words of Wisdom, and I'm going back to work. See you in the future. Bye-bye.